My name is Sara-Grace Daile, and I live in Louisville, Kentucky, with my husband Fidel, and we are excitedly awaiting the arrival of our first child this August. The life-changing event that I wanted to share is the day that I met my husband face to face for the very first time. We have a unique love story in that we fell in love and decided to get married before we had even met each other face to face, much to my parents' shock and surprise. But it was partly and mostly their fault because they were missionaries in Cameroon, Africa, and Fidel had met them and become their assistant in the ministry there. And so it was through them that I met Fidel, and we started emailing back and forth and then Skyping because he was teaching me French. And through that, God just grew our relationship, and our friendship just deepened, and we fell in love with each other, and we decided that we wanted to get married. But the problem was I was in the military at the time, so it was very hard for me to be able to take a trip overseas. So I had to go through a long process, lots of paperwork to be able to get that permission. And finally, I think about 8 months later, after we had started our official relationship, I was able to travel and go to Cameroon, Africa, and meet Fidel for the first time. Well, as I got closer to Cameroon, I was getting more and more nervous, and I was thinking, oh, I hope this is not going to be terribly awkward. And the closer I got, the more I was thinking, oh, this is definitely going to be awkward and weird. But I couldn't go back. I was on that airplane, and there was nowhere else to go. So my mom and Fidel were waiting for me at the airport in Cameroon. And when I got there, I met my mom first in the luggage area, and then we went through customs, and Fidel was supposed to be waiting for us outside customs. Well, he wasn't there, and so I was looking and looking for him in the crowd, and finally he comes running through the door, and all thoughts of it being awkward and weird went out my mind as I ran for him and I gave him a giant hug. And by God's grace, it was just the most wonderful experience in the world, meeting him for the first time. And it just confirmed in my heart that this was the man I was going to marry. This was the man that I loved. And it was just the most wonderful experience ever. And it was like we had known each other for years, even though that was the very first time we had ever seen each other face to face. And from then, we had a wonderful visit with each other. We got officially engaged. And then about a year and a half later, we got married when he was able to come to the U.S. And so that was a very life-changing experience for me because it has altered the course of my life. And I think the big lesson that I take away from it is that it is a picture for me of what it will be like when I meet Jesus for the first time. Because just like I had never seen Fidel before, I have never seen Jesus. And I have no idea what it will be like when I meet Jesus for the first time. And I go, back and forth between thinking, oh, it's going to be so exciting, and then thinking, oh, this is going to be so nervousing and awkward, and I'm not going to know what to do, and what is it going to be like? And just having gone through that experience of meeting Fidel for the first time gives me a peace and just a sense that it's going to be the most wonderful experience that I will ever have meeting Jesus. And it's not going to be awkward. It's going to be beautiful and wonderful. And just because I haven't seen Jesus with my eyes doesn't mean that I don't know him and that he doesn't know me. And so from that, I think that's the biggest lesson that I take away from that experience with Fidel. And I just thank God so much for giving me that picture that I can hold on to and cling to, and just know that one day I am going to meet Jesus face to face, and it's going to be the most wonderful, beautiful experience.